Everyone will tell you that you can't make a blurry image sharp, but with the smallest amount of planning and just this simple technique, I'm going to do just that, make a blurry image sharp. I'll also throw in a bonus tip that might save you with a client one day. My name's Corey Vanderploeg at Corey Photo on Twitter and Instagram. Let's jump right in. So how do we get here? You can see that when I zoom in, these subjects are clearly on different planes, but how are they both so tack sharp? I didn't shoot it at f1,000,000, so how are they sharp? Well, it's actually a head swap. I've actually just completely replaced the head here. And this is where I'm saying that just a little planning in this simple technique is going to save your image. So if we go here and look at the raw images, you can see that this is our file. But as we zoom in, our subject on the left is out of focus. So all I did was search for an image that I liked where she was in focus. And again, some planning. You can see now that she's sharp and she isn't. So while I was shooting all of these raw images, I was making sure that I was shooting some on the left and some on the right, knowing I would combine them after. So once I did that, I just opened this up with the same settings, copied and pasted this whole image. And before I began retouching on anything, you'll see the first step that I did was swap the head. So let me show you how to do that real quick. So the first thing you do is you copy and paste this over and drop the opacity. What you want to do is you want to try and match the head to be around the same size. You're just using the free transform tool, so Command T, and then you're just clicking the corner and dragging. And all you're doing is trying to make the head around the same size. Another thing that's very important to me is to make sure that this line is in sync, because this is where you're going to be cutting. Once you have that dropped in, bring the opacity right back up to 100, and then come down here and turn this mask on. You can see that our mask layer is white. So if you come over here, you want it to be black in the background because you're going to be holding Command Delete to get rid of that. So now that it's gone, hit B for your brush tool, and then you're just going to be painting this in. And again, the reason you really wanted to be careful with those lines was so you have a nice, easy line and match up here. Pretty simple. Pretty simple stuff. The head is swapped. As you can see, they are both sharp, and now we have the base of our image. So now we can begin retouching. Add our skin, our treatment, and our grain, and you have a polished image. We went from blurry to sharp. All right, let's jump to the next example. We have an image here that was selected by the client, and when you zoom in, you see that the face is just out of focus. Clearly soft. You can see down here that it's much sharper around his arm. So how do we fix that? There's no sharpening tool or filter that is going to fix that. We have to go back to our raws and see if we found another sharp one. So here you can see I've shot a lot of different frames. These ones all had the soft face, but except for this one up here. The hands are a little different. The client selected this one because they like the body language, but the head is about the same. So what I'm going to do is open this image and just copy and paste this whole thing again. Apple C. We're going to use the same method. So what you do is paste it over, drop the opacity down again to about 60%, and then zoom right in. You really want to match the heads here. You always want to make it just a little bit bigger so you can hide behind the lines of the previous photo, which I'll show you right now. So this looks pretty good. You turn your opacity all the way up and flip it on and off. It's a slight difference, but let's drop it in and see how close we got it. So again, make sure your background layer is the opposite. So when you push Command Delete, it goes away. And then let's paint this in. Again, you want to be a little bit rude with it. Just make sure you get it all in. I push the backslash to make sure that I can see where I'm painting so I don't miss anything. And once the head is fully in, now we can start cleaning up our lines. We'll just start from one side and work our way over. See, if our head was slightly smaller, you would see the previous image underneath it, which is not what we want. And good luck trying to do this without a tablet. There's no way you can draw and follow the lines like this without a tablet. So please get yourself a tablet and watch out for my video on how to become a better retoucher, which heavily involves the use of a tablet. So this is starting to paint in real nicely. We haven't had any mistakes or any issues yet. Sometimes you get lucky and there is none. Other times it just takes a little bit longer. This hood looks a little bit weird. Painting it all back. So here you go. You can see we have a little bit of a discrepancy. You can see the underlying image underneath it. So how do we fix that? Well, it's simple. You're going to go underneath your layer here, push Shift Apple X, and wherever our hood was, you're just going to paint it over to make the image smaller than the image we just placed over top of it. When we push return, we go back to our mask, and let me get those hard lines from the hood. And you can see that looks perfect. Completely different head. Sharp image. Now this is a slightly different image, but I guarantee you the client will not notice as long as the body language is the same and the image is pretty much the same. And if you look up and if you look right into this, you'll see that we go from blurry to sharp, and it looks fantastic. From there, you can put your rest of your treatment on and you're good to go. Finished. The next one I'm going to show you was for a commercial client. They loved the image. It got all the way up to the big wigs at the marketing agency, and they decided that they did not like the shadow near his eyes. So what they had decided was to go with this image. It's a completely different setup. It's a different lens. He's at a different focal length, but they like his expression and there's less shadow around his eyes. So how do we swap the heads? Let me show you. First thing you do is when you open up the image, you copy a huge chunk of it. You want to make sure you get lots of it because you never know what more material you're going to need. So once you copy that, come back over here, and you can't just paste it over top. It'll look stupid, especially if you do it over top like this. Redoing it all is going to be absolutely insane. So what I have to do is turn off my grain, turn off my third and second round of revisions from the client, and open up my initial retouching. I have to turn off the tones, turn off my skin, and right underneath the black and white layers where I'm going to paste this new one. So what we learned before is we drop the opacity down to 70%, zoom in, and just make it work. The main thing here is to make sure that your scale is correct. Luckily, we have a huge hat here that we can match our scale to. If the hat's right and the eyes are right, then the head's going to be right. So let's keep going a little bit bigger. And I'm looking at these pupils of the eyes where these highlights are, because that will tell you the size of your eyes. We're getting a little bit closer. So now what you want to do is make sure that our jawline is where we're going to be cutting this. Usually I do it around the neck, but we were on a completely different angle, so the neck's going to be hard. We're going to have to do the hardest version, which is the jawline. And this looks pretty good already. I'm just going to push enter, turn my opacity up, and see how much of a difference it is. It's pretty good. I'm looking at the jawline, remember. So what I'm going to do is turn on my mask. Again, this is white. If I go over here and I see that the background is light, I have to push X to make it black, and then I can push Command Delete. Now I'm going to hit my B tool and I can just paint it in. Again, I'm going to hit backslash just so I can make sure I've painted everything I need in. And just so I can make sure it's painted in, and once it's painted in, then I can go right back to where I was and then really just focus in on the jaw. And it's that easy. Now we have our new head. Perfectly new head. You see the shadow issue is fixed, so I see where a commercial client was coming from. But we do have to do a lot more cleanup. You can see how I do all of my retouching and all of the tones and all of these steps I'm about to do in the link in my description. But for the ease, let's just turn all of these layers back on. It looks good. Looks great. The client was happy, and now I never have to have a soft image again. So now I'm happy. All right, thanks a lot, guys. My name's Corey Vanderploeg at Corey Photo on Twitter and Instagram. If you like this video, make sure you click the like, and most importantly, smash that subscribe button. Happy shooting.